Good afternoon. On today's news broadcast, we will discuss changes at Austin Peay as well as what's happening in our nation, plus local sports, weather, and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Brandon Crosslin.
And filling in for Rachel, I'm Ben Goodman.
The All-State received a letter to the editor Monday morning from concerned faculty members. This came after APSU administration cut faculty lines that were meant for the philosophy and religion program. The reason, as stated by the administration, was based on the percentage of students completing the program in the past 5 years. Faculty are concerned that this change will make it impossible a solid curriculum to be taught and will lead to the elimination of the department. Our producers spoke with Dean Dr. Dixie Webb, who stated that the open faculty line that had been assigned to the department was given to another. She also states that, quote, the program and major has not been eliminated and there is no plan to eliminate the program.
Ghost will be taking place this Sunday from 4 to 7 in Forterra Stadium. Ghost stands for Greater Halloween Options for Safe Trick-or-Treating and serves as a safe trick-or-treating opportunity for children of students, faculty, and staff, as well as children from around the Clarksville area. Tables will be set up around the football field with organizations from the university dressing up and passing out candy. Come out to Forterra Stadium Sunday and enjoy a safe Halloween experience while also seeing what it's like to be a Gov.
A Kentucky couple is uncomfortable in their own neighborhood after a symbol of hate was found carved into their Halloween pumpkin. CNN's Angela Rajard spoke to one of the homeowners and filed this report.
We've lived here unbothered for 8 years.
The Colony subdivision in Georgetown is usually pretty quiet. It's right by the high school, attracting a lot of families. Deidre Hull and her wife CJ live there with some friends and their child, who they are in the process of adopting. They say the other day a friend surprised them with this pumpkin in the spirit of Halloween.
The joke was that when we had time, we could carve it with the baby and it would be fun.
But that uncarved pumpkin soon became less of a holiday treat. On Wednesday, when Deidre went to leave for work, she noticed someone got their hands on it.
They carved a nice, happy little Halloween face into it, used some detail, and then they carved a swastika.
Needless to say, they were upset, saying the prank felt kind of pointed. There was even a note on the back that said, "Thank you."
And it has a very direct meaning to my family, not only my multiracial child, but my wife and I. We have fought very hard to get where we are.
When you look around the neighborhood, you see plenty of pumpkins and decorations intact. The couple says while they don't want to make a big deal of it, they felt it was important to talk about.
You may think it's a joke, you may think it's a game, whatever. It really does affect my family, and it affects how we feel about where we live and our safety in where we live.
As for the pumpkin, the couple has a plan.
Why don't you change it to a big heart? Cut it out, make the swastika go away, turn it to a heart. The pumpkin will be sitting front and center with a heart.
In Scott County,
You just gotta love each other. It's about more than just a pumpkin with a swastika.
Angela Reigard, WKYT.
This summer's hurricanes apparently took the fizz out of beer sales. Anheuser-Busch is blaming Hurricanes Irma and Harvey for causing a big drop in sales. Bud Light and Stella Artois sales in the U.S. fell more than 5% in the third quarter. Those numbers are shocking since the drop came during the start of the football season and the start of the baseball pennant races. Times for the largest sales in beer have been lower. The problem may be that beer snobs in the U.S. are increasingly choosing fancier and pricier craft beers over established brands like Budweiser. For more on the weather, let's head over to Aaliyah Harris.
Thank you, Ben. So here in Seattle, we have 53, and it seems to be getting a little cold now with the natural temperature today. Los Angeles at 81, and in Denver, you have 41. In Dallas, is 54, and in Chicago, we have 43, and in Atlanta, is 69, and in New York, is getting 62. Now today's high is 61 in Memphis, and 63 in Clarksville, and Nashville is 68, and then in Knoxville it's 73, and Chattanooga is 72. So tonight is going to be pretty cold and everything, so it looks like you're not going to need more than a jacket, more like a coat. So please button up so you don't catch a cold or anything. So in Memphis it'd be 35, in Clarksville it's going to be 35 as well, Nashville's going to be 39, while in Knoxville it's going to be 52, and in Chattanooga 50. And right now the current temperature is 61 degrees with winds west-southwest at 8 miles per hour. And tonight it's going to be very rainy and chilly, so please go out there and make sure you have an umbrella and a coat because it's going to be pretty cold out there. And the wind's going to be northwest at 9 miles per hour, participation's at 100%. And today for our 5-day forecast, we have Friday. It's going to be pretty much raining all day and night. And a high is going to be 63 and a low is going to be 35. On Saturday, it's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 50 and low at 32. Looks like it's still going to be cold. On Sunday, it's going to be sunny with a high of 53 and a low of 36. And it looks like on Monday, it's going to be a little bit more warmer than before Saturday and Sunday. So the high is going to be 63 and a low 38. On Tuesday, it's going to be a great Halloween. It's going to be a little bit cold that night, so make sure that you're out there with the kiddos. You have a coat and everything. It's nice to look cute, but it's not nice to get it like a little cold. So the high is going to be 57 and the low is going to be 41. And still ahead, Mason Devers will have your political corner.
Welcome back to today's Political Corner. I'm Mason Devers. Well, even though the 2016 presidential election has been over for almost a year now, Hillary Clinton continues to dominate the news cycle. The Washington Post reported this week the political consulting firm Fusion GPS was retained last year to represent the DNC and the Clinton campaign. The firm then hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to write the now infamous Trump dossier. The dossier contained unverified allegations about dirt Russians had on then-candidate Donald Trump and his campaign's possible connections to Moscow. But the developments could raise legal problems. The Campaign Legal Center, a watchdog group, filed a complaint Wednesday with the Federal Election Commission accusing the DNC and Clinton's campaign committee of breaking campaign finance law by failing to accurately disclose the money spent on the Trump-Russia dossier. In total, the Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee paid more than $9 million to the firm that commissioned the Trump dossier. However, that is not all for the former First Lady. Also this week, multiple congressional committees opened investigations into an Obama-era deal that resulted in a Russian company purchasing American uranium mines while Clinton was Secretary of State. After the request from many Republican lawmakers, the Department of Justice has lifted a gag order on a former FBI informant. The informant is expected to have more information about the agreement that allowed Russia to control 1/5 of the uranium mining in the U.S. and Clinton's involvement in it. As a result, he will testify before the congressional committees, and as the investigations continue, we will keep you updated. Finally, yesterday during a speech at the White House, President Trump declared the opioid epidemic a public health emergency. Those present included family members of those affected by the opioid crisis, as well as several administration officials and elected leaders. White House officials say the step helps cut through regulatory red tape and give states more flexibility in how they use federal funds to fight the problem. The designation will also allow changes such as expanded access to medical services in rural areas. The emergency declaration will last 90 days, but can be renewed. Corner, back over to Brandon.
Thank you, Mason. A lot of kids love baseball and dream of going to the World Series, but it was one little boy's expression of that passion that actually earned him tickets to the big game. His name is Alejandro. He lives in California, and it was an essay he wrote about America's pastime that made his dream come true. CNN's Joe Kwan reports.
I love the Dodgers so much, and it's just the dream come true that I won these tickets to go to the World Series.
Fifth grader Alejandro Herrera won a ticket for himself and his sister thanks to an essay he wrote. He read it Wednesday morning to his classmates at Christopher Dina Elementary.
I am a Dodger fan because baseball runs through my family.
The school held an essay contest to pick a winner after former student Ricardo Puentes donated the tickets.
Puentes attended this school when it was called Dakota Elementary School back in 1988 when the Dodgers won the World Series.
It was the first school Puentes went to in the U.S. after coming here from Mexico. He was at the school for only 71 days.
Very home feel about being in this school that I didn't feel like I was in an entirely different country.
A feeling he never forgot, and nearly 3 decades later, an opportunity to say thank you by fulfilling a boy's baseball dreams. A teacher recorded the moment Tuesday when Alejandro found out he was the big winner.
Honestly, that moment right there when I saw him stand up and put his hand over his face, like that made it worth it for me.
There's not even words to describe how happy I am to go.
Pre-game excitement the 10-year-old could hardly contain, a feeling shared by Puentes.
Oh my God, I'm excited to be there with him and see the excitement in his face.
Go Dodgers!
And now let's pass it over to Ben Goodman for a look at your Gov Sports update.
Thanks, Brandon. So last week, homecoming was a perfect weekend for the Govs. So let's start with football. Last weekend's game against Southeast Missouri, the Govs let the Redhawks know early that homecoming was not going to be spoiled with 2 first-quarter touchdowns. By halftime, Austin Peay held a strong 28-7 lead. Not something you usually see, huh? Even with a late offensive Red Hawk rally, the clock would strike 0 for SEMO, and the Govs walked out with a 38-31 win Saturday night. This win would be the first homecoming win since 2008 and first under head coach Will Healy. For their amazing play last weekend, Kentel Williams was named OVC's Offensive Player of the Week, alongside freshman quarterback Jeremiah Oatsfall being named OVC's Newcomer of the Week in his first career start. The Govs now take that momentum down to Orlando to take on number 17 ranked UCF. This will be one of the toughest tests that the Govs will have to face this season before returning to finish out the rest of the conference play. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. and is streaming live on ESPN3. Govs volleyball continued their impressive run in the OVC last week, taking on Belmont and TSU last Thursday and Friday. With her 27 kills last week, Ashley Slay helped to slay the Bruins and Tigers with 3-1 finals. Their win against Belmont Thursday night also helped them become the 4th team in NCAA to reach 20 wins for the season. Currently, they sit atop the conference standings with a 9-1 record, which could give Austin Peay the bid to host the conference tournament. But that could all change this weekend with the Illinois road trip this weekend. Tonight they travel to EIU, and tomorrow's match will see the women take on second place SIUE. Gov Soccer finished the regular season last Sunday with a 2-0 victory against Morehead State, which was an in or out game for both teams. In the 75th minute, senior forward Kirsten Robertson would give the Govs the only goal needed to win. With only a few minutes left, Mackenzie Dixon would score, locking in the Govs' playoff spot as the 8th seed. They will now take on SEMO in the first round tonight at 5:30. We wish our very own colleague Bryce Beeman and the rest of the team luck in the playoffs. To the ice now, the Predators have had an up-and-down start to the beginning of the season. Earlier this week, ESPN named the Predators the #1 franchise in sports, which is a huge honor. But Tuesday night's contest against the Flames wasn't completely befitting of the Western Conference champs. Early in the first period, Nashville would strike first with goals from both Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi. In the third, however, Calgary would come back with 2 goals midway through the period. With nothing stopping the goalies, this game would go past overtime into a shootout. Philip Forsberg would put up a shot to tie the shootout at 1 goal apiece, but in the final shot, Matthew Tkachuk would get the puck past Rene, giving the Flames the 3-2 win over the Preds, and only the Preds with 1 point. Nashville now heads to Chicago to take on the rival Blackhawks tonight at 7:30. Finally, with the end of October comes the World Series, where a new champion will be crowned in the Los Angeles Dodgers or the Houston Astros. Wednesday night in the 8th inning, down 3-1, Carlos Correa would single to center field, bringing in Alex Bregman for another run. 1 inning later with 2 outs, Marwin Gonzalez homered to center field to tie up the game. To the 11th, Cameron Maben would steal second base after a single, winning Tacos for America next Wednesday. Make sure you remember about that. George Springer's home run would lift the Astros over the Dodgers 7-6, tying the series at 1 game apiece. Game 3 is tonight in Houston. The first pitch is slated for 7:08 on your local Fox station. That's all for sports. Coming up next, we'll have your Health Minute, and premature babies are getting Halloween costumes. On today's Take a Look at This, you don't want to miss it. APSU-TV News will be right back.
Welcome back. Authorities detained a man identified as a financial operator of the Sinaloa cartel in Santa Fe, Mexico City Thursday. Victor Manuel Felix Beltran, alias El Vic, has an extradition order to the United States. According to authorities, El Vic collaborated very close with the children of the famous drug pen Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. El Vic is the son of Victor Manuel Felix, who is the father-in-law of the son of El Chapo Guzman. His job at the organization was money laundering associated with trafficking heroin from Mexico to the U.S. El Vic faces charges in a court in Illinois for drug trafficking and money laundering.
President Trump called for a, quote, big beautiful wall between the United States and Mexico. And the vision is now morphing into reality with the construction of 8 30-foot tall prototypes in no man's land on the border of San Diego. The concrete poured into the sections of the wall is now hardening ahead of official tests to see if the prototypes can be scaled, dug under, or simply blown up. Andy Rose has the latest on the progress.
We have just completed the construction of 8 border wall prototypes. They were completed on time and as set by the schedule we put forward.
Less than 1 year since he was elected president, one of Donald Trump's main campaign promises,
we are going to build a great border wall,
is underway. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol announced Thursday that the prototypes for the border wall that is to sit between the U.S. and Mexico are ready for testing.
We're going to test it for breachability, we're going to test it for climbing, and then we're going to look at all the other things we've asked the vendors to do, things like the aesthetics, things about what's on the top and how it deters climbing or grappling and those kind of things.
Each prototype is between 18 and 30 feet in height and had to be built with certain specifications, including an underground foundation to deter tunneling. President Trump praised the progress on the wall during a speech about the opioid crisis Thursday.
An astonishing 90% of the heroin in America comes from south of the border, where we will be building a wall which will greatly help in this problem.
Testing and evaluation on the wall prototypes will take place over the next 2 months before a final decision is made. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
Now on today's Health Minute, as Mason stated earlier, the opioid crisis in the United States is getting some attention from the White House. CNN's Mary Maloney explains in today's Health Minute.
President Donald Trump declared the opioid crisis a national public health emergency. Trump stopped short of declaring the crisis a national emergency, which means any new money would have to be authorized by Congress in its year-end spending package that is currently being negotiated. More than 2 million Americans have become dependent on or abused prescription pain pills and heroin, according to a recent survey by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And about 11.5 million Americans aged 12 and older misused prescription pain medicine in 2016. Recent analysis published by the Journal of the American Medical Association says prescribed painkillers and illegal drugs such as heroin are shortening Americans' overall lifespan, as the most recent government numbers show fatal overdoses related to heroin have skyrocketed 533% between 2002 and 2016. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
With Halloween approaching, a Boston hospital pulled out all the stops to make sure their tiniest superheroes dress the part. CNN's Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Premature babies at a Boston hospital are ready to celebrate Halloween in style. Nonprofit Project Sweet Peas teamed up with Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital to turn the preemies into the cutest characters and biggest little superheroes you've ever seen.
I couldn't think of a more fitting costume, not just for their personalities, but just everything that they've gone through.
The costumes were handmade by volunteers and parents of former preemies. The hospital even hosted a photo shoot. It's a heroic gesture for parents and infants who've been through so much.
They're the strongest girls I know.
Watch an off-duty New Jersey state trooper save a man from choking. Trooper Dennis Palaia was enjoying a meal with his son on his day off. Suddenly, a man at the next table starts showing signs of distress. Clutching his throat, the man appears to be choking. Trooper Palaia quickly jumps up and begins to perform the Heimlich maneuver. After delivering a few quick thrusts, the man is able to breathe freely again. Thanks to the quick-thinking trooper, the man was able to make a full recovery. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, something coming up tonight at 8 p.m. in the Mabry Concert Hall is the annual Halloween concert. 2 different shows probably both sold out.
Oh yeah.
That we could safely say.
I would say.
Oh yeah.
So we hope you've already got your tickets for that.
This is one of the most popular events throughout Austin Peay's whole time in the fall semester. I love it. I'm going to be working it tonight. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of things I've seen that you will not want to miss. And if you didn't get your ticket, you are going to miss it because it's that good.
Well, it's been a little while since we've all been up here together. Did you guys have a good homecoming last weekend?
Definitely.
It was a good
Definitely.
homecoming.
It was rough.
A lot of school spirit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just love these wins. Keep getting these
Right.
wins.
Let's keep putting up W's.
Best of luck at UCF though.
Oh.
That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/APSU-TV.
Thanks for watching another edition of your Gov News Weekend Update.
And as always,
let's go Peay.